What do you got? Life profession. When did you do that?
November 8th, 2015.
Okay, so what's it like when you change from being sister Natalia or Gabriella to mother sister or mother Gabriella and mother Natalia? Is that the biggest point for y'all, or is it once you've made your first, like the tonsure or the first promises, or?
They're big deals in very different ways, because when you're tonsured, that's when you receive a new name, right? So practically speaking, that's kind of the most difficult transition, I think, for people, of like remembering to call you by your new name. But receiving the title sister wasn't so strange, because so many people, when you enter the monastery, they start calling you sister right away, not realizing that there's a difference. So being called sister and getting the new name. But there's really, I experienced the deepest interior change at my life profession, more so than my tonsure. But I don't know if that's the case across the board, but that was very much the case for me.
Tell me about it.
Well, I should have known that would be the question. So there's been a very lived experience of motherhood for me. I know that, like, when I would hear people talk about, priests talk about spiritual fatherhood, or nuns talk about spiritual motherhood, I was like, I think externally I agreed with them and said I understood, but internally, even sometimes subconsciously, I was just like, that's a load of crap, like they're just saying that to feel better about not having kids.
I see, yeah.
But it really has been extremely fulfilling and extremely tangible, the motherhood, in ways that I didn't expect. And it's fulfilling in a different way, right? Of course, like, I'm not saying that it's the same experience as biological motherhood. It's definitely a different thing. But there's so much grace. And I remember getting to the point before I made my life profession of feeling confident that this vocation would be fulfilling for me. And I felt like, yes, the Lord has given me the graces that I need, and I will be happy in this life. And
as you're about to make your profession?
As I was about to make my life profession.
Is it one of those things where if you left prior to your life profession, that would be totally like no harm, no foul?
Yeah. And then I made my life profession, and it was just like, I was overwhelmed by how much more grace the Lord poured into my life. Like, what I thought was a fruitfulness, he was like, oh, that's just the beginning. And it was just a really beautiful experience of the Lord can't be outdone in generosity. And so we give him such little. We think we're giving him a lot, but we're really giving him just such a little amount. And then he just expands it so much, just like he did with the loaves and the fish. And like, that's what he says. I heard a homily recently. My spiritual father was giving a homily about the multiplication of the loaves and fish, and just how when Jesus says to the disciples, what do we have? And they say, we have nothing. They don't say the number. They say, we have nothing. And then when it's followed up, they say, all we have is this. And Jesus says, then give them that, but it's like, so frequently we just think that we have nothing to give. And really, like, all he's asking is for this little amount. And I feel like that's what happened with my life profession. I felt like I had nothing. And he said, you have a little more than nothing. And then when I gave that, he just like, yeah.
Do you find that you have natural affection for those that you're coming into contact with as your spiritual children?
Oh, very much so. Yeah. Or
supernatural affection, I suppose.
I mean, both. Yeah.
We need mothers, don't we? We need mothers. We've kind of lost that in the church. Maybe we have the Blessed Virgin Mary, but I love that y'all take the title mother.
Yeah. And it's so, there's such an uproar in the church at points of like, people wanting women to have the same roles as men, but it's like, we're just totally neglecting this role of women, and have been for so many years. And what we really need, I think, like, the devil's really been at work in this, like, he's using this desire. He's like fostering this desire in people for sameness, instead of, and in doing so, he's distracting us and we're totally neglecting this part of us that's
you're
like
being
a
robbed of
beautiful.
the nobility of
Yeah.
motherhood. It's like, why would you be a mother and have children and raise them and even homeschool them when you could scrape plaque off strangers' teeth? Doesn't that sound better?
Anyways, today we were literally talking about
dentistry.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well,
that's fascinating. Sorry.
thank you very much for watching that clip. Before you go, do us a favor, click like, click subscribe, and if this really meant something to you, help us out by sharing it.